Through time and rebirth to the Dragon Ball world, I became the younger brother of Sun Wukong. I have no system, let alone bloodline like Saiyan people. I am just an Earthling, but there is no way. I want to reach that supreme peak and break the shackles of life. Main characters: Sun Wuling, Sun Wukong. Keywords of the novel: Dragon Ball. Life Shackles without pop-ups, Dragon Ball. Life Shackles TXT Complete Collection Download, Dragon Ball. Life Shackles Latest Chapter Reading. Chapter 1. Dragon Ball World. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Baozi Mountain. On an open grassland, a gentle breeze blew by, and a handsome man in his 20s opened his hands and floated in the air. A white energy ripple formed around him, and his black hair stood up with the energy breath. Suddenly, the man's eyes opened, cold and piercing like ice, devoid of any emotion. A transparent invisible wave was released from the pineal gland in the center of his eyebrows. At this moment, the wind stopped and the man slowly fell to the ground. Looking at his hands, he let out a disappointed sigh, feeling very dissatisfied with his current self. My name is Sun Wuling, and this world is Dragon Ball World. That's right, I've traveled through it. And he also became the younger brother of Sun Wukong, the male lead of the Dragon Ball. However, although he became Sun Wukong's younger brother, he was not a Saiyan, he was a human. He has his own pride, and he has been closely following Sun Wukong's footsteps without stopping, always walking side by side with Sun Wukong. After arriving at Baozi Mountain from Burma, we embarked on an adventure together, searching for the 7 Dragon Balls, apprenticed to the Gue Immortal, became the world's top martial arts sect, destroyed the Red Ribbon Legion, once again held the world's top martial arts sect, defeated Tianjin Fan, and finally barely defeated Sun Wukong, becoming the champion of which era. We then defeated the Bike Demon King, climbed to the Divine Realm for cultivation, and finally defeated the newly born Bike again at the martial arts sect. Sun Wuling has also tried to change important storylines, but I'm sorry, he doesn't have those system cheats. Being able to keep up with Sun Wukong's footsteps is already his limit. However, not everything has changed either. For example, Xiando used many fish to exchange for the current 1.5 jars of Xiando, until the Xiando in Jialin Immortal was completely sold out by him temporarily. There's no need to say much about Xiando. Anyone who has watched the 7 Dragon Balls knows how useful Xiando is. Although he may not remember some scattered plot points, Sun Wuling has not forgotten some important things and plot points. Also, due to his own reasons, he changed the trajectory of his encounter with Achilles, and now Achilles doesn't know where he is, completely becoming a stranger. It's still not enough. Sun Wuling looked at his hands. Now Sun Wukong is already 4 years old. Although his strength can be on par with Sun Wukong now, he will know how crazy this world will be and what kind of power Sun Wukong will have in the future. Sun Wuling lay on the grass, looking at the blue sky. He began to think about his future path and what to do. In his previous life, he was also an anime fan. Sakurajima Mai, Passer.by Hui, Shao Nan, and Butterflies Endure. Compared with the TV series that made him feel sick like swallowing flies, the 7 Dragon Balls opened the door to his anime and let him understand what is animation and what is fetal education animation. Do you still remember the excitement and emotion when I saw Sun Wukong transform into a Super Saiyan for the first time? As for the harem and so on. Sun Wuling said that before reading those fan fiction stories, he had never thought of it that way. It was only from fan fiction that he had such thoughts. He had no nostalgia in his past life, and his parents lived his life peacefully. On that unlucky day, he came to this world with a thunderbolt and transformed into a newborn baby. He was picked up by Sun Wukong's grandfather at that time, and now he is called Sun Wuling, an earthly person who pursues martial arts. Uncle Wuling, it's time for dinner. A tender voice sounded in Sun Wuling's ear. The carp stood up straight, a little boy only knee-high, with a monkey-like tail, clear and agile eyes, and a hat studded with a 4-star Dragon Ball. Wufan. Sun Wukong, the son of Sun Wukong and Chi-Chi, was named by Sun Wukong in memory of his grandfather. Now, only Sun Wuling knows what potential Sun Wukong has. Sun Wuling hugged Sun Wukong in his arms, performing aerial dance and leaping into the sky. Sun Wukong not only showed no fear, but also excitedly raised his tender little hand. Wow! Sun Wuling looked at Sun Wukong's excited expression, and he suspected that if he didn't grab it, Sun Wukong could jump down on his own. Wukong, do you want to learn martial arts with us? Then you can also take off like me and Wukong. Sun Wuling attempted to lure Sun Wukong to learn martial arts, but was never successful. Being a scholar was not only due to Chi-Chi, but also because of Sun Wukong's own dream. Not now. When I grow up a bit, Sun Wuling will try to guide me. Philosophy and martial arts do not conflict at all. Bruce Lee is an example of integrating philosophy into Jeet Kune Do. Uncle Wuling, I want to be a great scholar in the future. Wufang's innocent voice was full of determination. Sun Wuling did not engage in any forced guidance or anything like that. He grew up with people from the past and understood the feeling that his love and ideals were trampled upon by his parents and those who were most important to him. Interest is the best teacher. Sun Wuling smiled and put on Sun Wukong's crooked hat, saying with a smile, then Wufang needs to work hard. Whether it's martial arts or becoming a scholar, it's not easy. Well, yes, Uncle Wuling. Unconsciously, Sun Wuling arrived and saw 2 3-story apartments in a classical European style. However, despite this, the old house Sun Wuling and Sun Wukong did not demolish it, it was their memory of preserving the past. As for how electricity comes, with the presence of Bulma and the high-technology tree in this world, this problem is certainly easy to solve. After all, in Baozi Mountain, wild animals and dinosaurs are everywhere, and ordinary humans may not be able to come. He landed steadily on the ground, put down Sun Wukong, and entered the room. At this moment, he saw a man in his 20s sitting on the sofa, with bulging hair, wearing an orange martial arts suit, and a turtle print on his chest and back. Ah, Wuling has finally returned. My stomach is going to be starving. This man is Sun Wukong, but different. Sun Wuling is wearing a purple martial arts uniform, which looks very similar to Bike's, and there are no words engraved on it like Sun Wukong. Sun Wuling likes purple and blue, and coupled with the fact that the turtle Immortal did not pay attention to these small matters, Sun Wuling did not wear orange martial arts uniforms like Sun Wukong did. Don't wait for me anymore. Sun Wuling washed his hands and began to eat. Sun Wukong's standard appetite for food was the same as Sun Wukong's appetite for rice. Chi-Chi, Sun Wuling has long been accustomed to strange things. As for the source of money, treasures in the world, or those buried under the sea, Sun Wuling will not be troubled by this. In a farmland, a farmer wearing glasses is busy working in the field. A fiery red light streak cuts through the entire sky, and the sky is dyed red. Boom! As the fiery red object fell, the ground shook violently, causing nearby birds and animals to scatter and flee. The farmer's straw hat fell directly to the ground, like a frightened rabbit. So, what is that? Is it a meteorite, a UFO? The vibration disappeared, and the place where the fiery red light fell emitted huge black smoke. In addition to curiosity, there was also a concern that the glowing object would lead the entire grassland, which would be a disaster. Despite fear, the farmers still drove their own cars and hurried over. Noticing a huge deep pit, the farmer carefully walked over with a hunting rifle, but inside the pit was a circular spherical object with a red glass window. Puff-I saw the spherical object slowly opening with the red glass on its side, and the farmer almost couldn't hold the hunting gun in his hand, nervously lifting it to his throat. Chapter 2. Only 5 Combat Powers. You are listening at novelfull.audio. As the hatch of the spherical object opened, a tall figure emerged from inside and slowly floated up under the incredulous gaze of the farmer. Ah! The farmer was frightened and instinctively took several steps back, his hunting gun trembling and aimed at the tall figure in front of him. The quiet and bright weather, the farmer's heart is now as cold as hell. The tall figure floating in the air makes him unable to help but feel his scalp tingling, as if his long-standing values have been destroyed and shattered. The tall figure was dressed in black white armor, with brown stripes adding a touch of beauty. Special wrist protectors were also worn on the wrists and ankles, and something resembling a rope was wrapped around the waist. His hair was very long, almost reaching his heel, and his face looked very similar to that of Sun Wukong. He also wore a special device on his left ear, with dark green transparent sunglasses covering his left eye. The tall man in front of him was named Late Eyes, a Saiyan who was also Sun Wukong's brother. When Sun Wuling learned of the invitation from Turtle Fairy to a party, he had already noticed it. "Who are you, exactly?" The farmer aimed his shotgun at Late Eyes and shouted nervously, his voice slightly excited. His trembling body showed the farmer's unease at the moment. Late Eyes clicked on the button she was wearing on her ear with her left hand, and the dark green lens appeared in her eyes, along with a series of numbers and special image characters. "Humph, trash with only 5 combat power." The result revealed on the detector, Late Eyes showed a contemptuous smile and walked slowly towards the farmers. "You, don't come over, me, I'm going to shoot." The farmer watched as Late Eyes continued to walk, unable to resist the fear in his heart. He pulled the trigger and the shotgun rang. Late Eyes' face remained unchanged, and he quickly grabbed it with his left hand. His palm bounced open, and the bullet seemed to be a mockery of the farmer. In the almost collapsed posture of the farmer, the bullet in his hand bounced towards him. Puff! The shotgun was instantly shattered. The farmer's chest was directly penetrated, and the bullet left a mark on the car. Looking at the silent farmers, Late Eyes looked even more contemptuously, "Humph, what a weak race." Suddenly, the detector experienced a violent response, and Late Eyes looked at the direction indicated by the detector. "There is a powerful creature ahead, is it cockroach?" Late Eyes leaped into the sky, flying in the direction indicated by the detector. At the same time, Sun Wuling, Sun Wukong, and Sun Wufan flew together towards the home of the Turtle Fairy in the sea. Sun Wukong held Sun Wufan and sat together in a somersault cloud, while Sun Wuling followed him alone, using the technique of dancing in the air. The surging air pulled up a long white line in the air. The Guisian house has arrived. Sun Wuling landed steadily on the ground, while Sun Wukong carried Sun Wufan and descended from the somersault cloud. "Teacher Wu Tian." Sun Wukong's shout made all the people in the Turtle Immortal's house come out. A bald boy named Klin, dressed in the same clothes as Sun Wukong, wearing sunglasses, and a bald turtle fairy named Wu Tian with a white beard. Another woman with short blue hair, dressed in a white coat and a delicate appearance, named Bulma, ran out first. When she saw Sun Wukong, Sun Wuling exclaimed in surprise. "Sun Jun, Wuling." Bulma let out a sound of Sun Jun with a hint of inexplicable affection. Sun Wuling also gave Sun Wukong a slightly slanted glance. To be honest, did he really think that Sun Wukong would be with Bulma the first time before? "Wukong, Wuling." Klin also ran out and exclaimed in surprise. "Long time no see." Sun Wuling's handsome face showed a faint smile. Bulma looked curiously at Sun Wukong's embrace of Sun Wufan and asked, "Sun Jun, who is this child?" Kling then said, "Have you started taking care of children part-time?" Sun Wukong smiled and put down Sun Wufan, "He is my child." Sigh. Sun Wukong's words surprised Klin, Bulma, and the Turtle Immortal to the point where his chin was about to drop. Based on their impression, Sun Wukong's innocent ignorance of the world could even have children. Sun Wufan, under Sun Wukong's guidance, slightly bent over and greeted him, saying in a childish voice, "Hello everyone." "Hello, __Klin, Bulma, and the turtle fairy also bent down to respond. Sun Wukong. His name is Sun Wukong. Sun Wukong began to play with the old turtle of Turtle Fairy. Really? You gave him the name of your deceased grandfather. The words of the Turtle Fairy made Sun Wukong and Sun Wuling feel a little sad, especially Sun Wuling, who was too young and weak at the time, but did not change this ending. Bulma was half kneeling in front of Sun Wukong at the moment, smiling and asking, "Wukong, how old are you this year?" Sun Wukong gestured his fingers and said, 4 years old. I didn't expect Sun Jun's son to be so polite, Burma said with a hint of inexplicable laughter as he wrapped his hand around his chest. Sun Wukong replied, "It's all Chi-Chi who taught us well." Upon hearing Chi-Chi's name, Bulma was slightly taken aback and looked up at Sun Wukong. It was an adventure together that allowed her, the once nostalgic girl, to see many things and understand her inner desires better. However, it was too late, everything was too late. Wufan, what do you want to do when you grow up? Sun Wufan replied, I want to be a great scholar. Ah. Scholar. Bulma was slightly surprised, not Sun Wukong, a martial artist like Sun Wuling. At this moment, Late Eyes is flying in the direction indicated by the detector, located on a hill. A green-skinned creature wearing a white cloak and a purple martial arts uniform, with slightly pointed ears. The name of this green living organism is Bic. Suddenly, Bic sensed Late Eyes' anger and a slight drop of cold sweat dripped down his face. This power, is it Sun Wukong or Sun Wuling? With a tearing sound of air, Late Eyes landed steadily in front of Bic, her long hair flowing in the wind. Seeing Bic, she was somewhat disappointed and said, Cut, it's not Carrot. Bic asked, Who are you? What are you doing here? Late Eyes' face remained unchanged as the detector scanned Bic's combat power at the moment. My target is not you, combat power 822, is it still very good? But it's not my opponent yet. What are you talking to? You guy, do you know who you're talking to? Bic gritted his teeth and asked angrily. Late Eyes replied disdainfully, I don't know. Ah, drink. Bic's palm spread out and a Qigong bullet was instantly released, hitting Late Eyes' body. Boom. Upon seeing his successful surprise attack, Bic smiled, but gradually his smile faded away. The dust dissipated, and Late Eyes floated steadily in mid-air. What a boring move, it only raises some dust. This time, it's my turn to take action. Late Eyes' palm opened, and Bic's nerves tightened all over his body. Late Eyes' strength surpassed him by too much, and he had never felt this kind of powerlessness before. Suddenly, the detector detected 2 waves of combat power, causing Late Eyes to suddenly stop and follow the detector's instructions. There are 2 super strong waves of combat power. If one of them is Kakarot, who is the other? This may be the most powerful person on this planet. Shoo! Late Eyes flew towards the direction indicated by the detector, Bic propped up on the ground, panting heavily, and the immense pressure Late Eyes brought him. No, it's impossible. Who the hell is that? Besides Sun Wukong and Sun Wuling, there's actually someone stronger than me. Chapter 3. My Power. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At this moment, Sun Wuling and Sun Wukong were chatting together in the Turtle Immortal house. Suddenly, Sun Wuling and Sun Wukong sensed a powerful aura rushing towards them. Klin, the Turtle Fairy, also feels it. Yes, what's coming over? Sun Wukong looked in the direction. Sun Wuling couldn't help but feel a slight drumbeat in his heart. Finally, Late Eyes arrived, and even after the incident with Bic, Sun Wuling did not slack off at all. Instead, he began to practice even more rigorously, along with Sun Wukong and Bic, who were all working hard with him. But Sun Wuling did not know how much his combat power was, nor did he have a clear understanding. Anyway, he would definitely be stronger than Sun Wukong, who had over 300 combat power before, and stronger than Ku. However, what made Sun Wukong somewhat happy was that Lei's anger did not make him feel unstoppable, he could touch it. Even if he is defeated, it doesn't matter. He collected the Dragon Ball in advance and kept it at home, carrying more than 10 fairy beans with him. He doesn't believe it. Even if he can't defeat Lei's, Sun Wukong and he can't fight to the death together. Shoo! Lei's fell in front of Sun Wuling, Sun Wukong, and others. Sun Wukong grabbed Sun Wukong's pants in fear and looked at Lei's trembling. Lei's looked at Sun Wukong with a slightly raised corner of his mouth, and Sun Wukong's combat prowess in the detector also satisfied him. You've finally grown up, Carrot. Ah, Carrot. Sun Wukong looked at Lei's with some confusion. Latitz looked at Monkey King. He looks exactly like his father. But, Kakarot, what's going on this planet? Isn't your mission to destroy human beings? What are you doing? Klin was about to walk up and drive away Lei's when he was stopped by Sun Wuling. Don't move, Klin. You can't handle the other person. Protect Burma and Wufan. Leave this to me and Wukong. Under the guidance of Sun Wuling, Klin was taken aback, but due to his trust in Sun Wuling and Sun Wukong, he picked up Sun Wufan, who was holding Sun Wukong's pants, and handed it to Bulma. He stood side by side with the Turtle Fairy. Oh. Lei's looked at Sun Wuling, and the detector pointed at him. The explosive combat power value made him chuckle contemptuously. It turns out to be another trash with only 5 combat power. Only 5. Sun Wuling was taken aback and looked at Lei's. Coincidentally, he also wanted to know his true level. A cold smile appeared on his face and he said, "Oh, so the thing you brought can tell how much combat power a person has." Lei's face remained unchanged, and he looked at Sun Wuling with a hint of amusement. He really wanted to see what this insect with only 5 combat power was going to do. That's right. Then let's see what my combat power is. Sun Wuling no longer suppressed his breath, and his energy suddenly exploded and increased. With the continuous surging of his breath, Sun Wuling's hair fluttered with the airflow. The reason why Sun Wuling was able to hide his breath so perfectly is that when he practiced with Sun Wukong in the heavenly realm, there was a practice where his level of completion was better than that of Sun Wukong. Silent as the sky. Perhaps it was Sun Wuling's innate preference for tranquility and elegance, or perhaps it was due to his travels that he easily achieved this in this regard. Lei's looked at the detector's constantly rising values, his face slowly becoming uneasy. 800, 900, still rising, 1000, 1000, 1400. It's impossible, a human on Earth has a combat power of 1400. How could it be? Is it 14? Sun Wuling looked at his hands. His current strength is 14. It seems that his years of hard work have not been in vain. 1004, I'll come too. After Sun Wukong saw Sun Wuling's behavior, a silver aura burst out from his body, and the correct combat power value exploded and increased. Lei's quickly looked at Sun Wukong, and the detector detected his numerical value at the moment. It's rising straight from the original 91, 1000, 111, 112. Lei's looked at the final stop value, 1350, which was only 50 times less combat power than Sun Wuling, and not much less than him. No, it's impossible. Kakarot, you're just a subordinate warrior. How could you have the same strength as me? It's impossible. The detector must be broken. Lei's was surprised and took a step back. Sun Wukong, Sun Wuling, if their combat power was much worse, they would crush them, but if they were similar, they would form a standoff. Sun Wuling, Sun Wukong, and his combat power were not much different. No, if this Earthling keeps hiding his combat power, who else is there besides Kakarot in the 2 powerful combat forces just detected by the probe? Is there something even more powerful hidden on this planet? Late Eyes had already developed a sense of retreat at this moment, and the beads of sweat on his forehead indicated the nervousness in his heart. 1350 Sun Wuling was also surprised when he heard about Sun Wukong's combat power value. He didn't expect that he was even 50 points higher than Sun Wukong. However, this difference was not much in combat. Perhaps he would be defeated by Sun Wukong due to his own abilities, moves, and so on. But also Sun Wuling looked at Late Eyes. He didn't remember how much combat power Late Eyes had, but judging from Late Eyes' reaction now, the difference was probably just like between him and Sun Wukong now. It's not much difference at all. Kakarot, do you really don't remember anything? Late Eyes looked at Sun Wukong and shouted loudly. My name is Sun Wukong, not some carrot. Sun Wukong replied loudly. Late Eyes' tail wrapped around her waist swayed flexibly. Tail. Klin, Bulma, exclaimed the turtle fairy in surprise. Are you, Wukong too? Sun Wuling pointed at Late Eyes' tail knowingly. That's right. Late Eyes looked at Sun Wukong with a hint of pride and asked, Carrot, have you ever been hit hard in the head? Answer me quickly, Carrot. Sun Wukong said, of course, although I can't remember clearly, I did get hit on the head when I was very young. But what's going on? I'm Sun Wukong, not some carrot. That's right. Late Eyes' gaze turned cold for a moment, and he looked at Sun Wuling on guard and said, let me tell you, you are not a person on this planet. You were born on the planet Vegeta, a Saiyan, and the strongest fighting nation in the universe. And I am your brother, Late Eyes. The universe, the Saiyans. Sun Wukong trembled unnaturally all over, and the title of Saya sounded like a thunderbolt in his mind. Bulma, Gue Xianren, and Kellen were also surprised by Late Eyes' words. They couldn't believe that Sun Wukong actually came from the universe. Sun Wuling took a step forward and said, no matter what kind of Saiyan or what. Sun Wukong is still Sun Wukong, my brother, and the Sun Wukong who has always lived on this planet. It's you, named Late Eyes, right? If you're here as a guest, we welcome you. But judging from your fierce appearance, it doesn't seem like you're just here to recognize Sun Wukong. Sun Wuling's words cleared the gloom in the hearts of Turtle Fairy, Bulma, Klin, and Sun Wukong, and his gaze became more determined as he looked at Late Eyes. Wuling is right. Sun Jun, he is still the same Sun Jun. If Sun Jun were any Saiyan, why would he appear on Earth? Bulma retorted loudly. Chapter 4. Different Encounters. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Haha. Late Eyes laughed heartily and said, the answer is simple, Kakarot. You were sent here to eliminate the humans on this planet. We Saiyans are proud fighting people who search for planets with good environments in the universe, then eliminate the humans living on them, and sell them to aliens who are looking for suitable planets at a high price. This is our job. Planets with high combat power are attacked by adult Saiyans, while on lower planets like Earth, sending children like you is enough. Late Eyes still carried a hint of disdain for a subordinate Saiyan like Sun Wukong, but it was Sun Wukong who had combat power comparable to him. Shoo! Bang! Late Eyes' pupils couldn't help but contract a bit. Suddenly, Sun Wuling clenched his fists and launched a surprise attack. Even if he reacted, it was too late. He had no idea that Sun Wuling would actually launch a surprise attack. Wow! Sun Wuling punched Late Eyes hard in the lower abdomen, causing him to widen his eyes in pain. Bastard! The fist turned into a palm, and a Qigong bullet formed, causing Late Eyes' abdomen to suffer secondary damage once again. Suppressing the intense pain in the abdomen, I stabilized my body as I was about to fall into the sea. Damn Earthlings! Late Eyes' palm condensed an energy bullet, only to find Sun Wuling stagnating in front of him, with his hands resting on his forehead. Sun Fist. The intense light enveloped the entire clear sky, causing Late Eyes to painfully close her eyes and let out a painful roar, my eyes. Bastard, I must kill you, damn Earthlings. Buzzing Sun Wuling's 2 golden rotating air blades were formed in his palms, with sharp serrations on the edges and a sound of cutting through the air as he rotated. Qi Yuan Slash. It's impossible for Sun Wuling not to study this move, and Qin is still learning from him. Sun Wuling is just sorry for this. Shoo. Shoo. If it comes to sensing Qi, Sun Wukong, Baik, Gixianren, Tianjin Fan, and others will all perceive Qi Yuan Zhan, but obviously, Leitai's does not. The piercing sensation in Leitai's eyes made him close his eyes tightly, and years of fighting had also instilled in him a dangerous instinct. His palms condensed 2 energy bullets and attacked Sun Wuling, while the Qi Yuan Slash was also within his attack range. Sun Wuling gritted his teeth and controlled one of the Qi element slashes to fly towards the sky, circling towards Leitai's. Bang! Boom! Leitai's combat power is stronger than Sun Wuling, even if the difference is not significant, it is still stronger than Sun Wuling. The energy bomb shattered the remaining Qi Yuan Slash and did not let the remaining force hit Sun Wuling's body. Sun Wuling crossed his arms to protect his chest and head. Leitai's energy bomb hit his arm, emitting explosive sparks. The cuffs of his arm were torn, and blood flowed out. The huge recoil force caused Sun Wuling's mouth to overflow with blood. Leitai's gaze returned and he looked at Sun Wuling's outstretched arm. Blood dripped onto the seawater through his fingers, and the blood overflowed from the corners of his mouth, causing him to burst into laughter with a messy expression. Ha ha ha. You bastard, dare to ambush me. The answer to Leitai's was a sneer from Sun Wuling. Suddenly, a strong sense of danger made Leitai's look back. What? Seeing the Qi Yuan Slash approaching him, Leitai's flew desperately upwards, but it was too late. Puff. Although it did not meet Sun Wuling's ideal of cutting Leitai's to the waist, Leitai's legs and the area below his knees were directly cut open by the Qi element slash. Ah! The severed legs fell into the sea, and the shark, smelling the smell of blood, swallowed Leitai's severed legs in one gulp and swam into the depths of the sea. Sun Wuling punched Leitai's hard on the cheek with his right fist, causing his huge body to fall onto the beach of the Turtle Immortal house, sparking a violent dust storm. The detector flying out of Leitai's was caught by Sun Wuling, and he leaped back to the Turtle Immortal house. Burma, Qin, Turtle Fairy, and Sun Wukong were all startled by the sudden fall of Leitai's. It only took about 10 seconds from the initial confrontation to the end. Ah! Leitai's angrily opened his mouth, and an energy bomb condensed in his mouth, aimed at Qin, Burma, and others. Ah, not good. Sun Wukong quickly blocked Bulma, Qin, and others, holding a Qigong bullet in his hand as he was about to throw it towards Leitai's. Shoo! Boom! Wow! Leitai's let out a painful roar, and Sun Wuling kicked Leitai's spiritual cover. The beach shattered, and Leitai's head was deeply nailed to the beach. The dust on the beach was like a yellow sand storm. Finally, it slowly dissipated and regained calmness. Wuling. How are you? Sun Wukong noticed Sun Wuling's situation at this moment and asked with concern. I'm fine. Sun Wuling grabbed Leitai's hair, lifted her head covered in blood, and threw it away in the distance like garbage. Sun Wuling brought the detector and aimed it at Leitai's, revealing his current combat effectiveness. Leitai's current combat power is 640, it seems that he has been injured quite lightly. Taking off the detector and throwing it to Bulma, he walked slowly to the struggling Leitai's and stepped on his fingers without hesitation. Ah! Leitai's let out a painful howl, feeling as if his fingers had been crushed by the Sun Wuling. Please, help me. Leitai's felt his body temperature start to drop, his legs under his knees were cut off by Qi Yuan, and the beach was stained with a pool of red blood, even blurring his vision. Sun Wuling squatted in front of Leitai's, and Sun Wukong also walked over. Bulma was still trembling about what had just happened and didn't dare to go, but when he saw Qin, Turtle Fairy, and Wufan all passing by, he quickly ran over. Now that your legs have been broken and you have lost too much blood, and you press hard on the wound, although the pain is reduced, the blood flow will accelerate. Even if I don't kill you, you will die within 20 minutes. Sun Wuling's words were like the whispers of demons, causing Leitai's pupils to widen and his mind to clear up a bit, leading to a breakdown. Stop talking, please stop talking, help me, for the sake of being Carrot's brother, help me, please. Sun Wuling looked at the clear sky in the distance and said, the nearest hospital is tens of thousands of kilometers away, and your current flight speed requires more than an hour to reach the hospital. In other words, you have died at least 4 times. What's wrong with me, you? You're the one who can save me. I don't want to die, Carrot, I don't want to die. Leitai's tears welled up in his eyes, and his desperate and collapsing expression made Turtle Fairy, Klin, and Bulma feel a bit unbearable. Just as Sun Wukong was about to step forward, he was quickly grabbed by Bulma. Bulma whispered in Sun Wukong's ear and said, Sun Jun, let's leave this to Wuling. Wuling has a sense of propriety. Sun Wukong finally stopped in his tracks, his conflicted eyes enduring it all the time. His kind nature moved his heart with pity when he begged for mercy in Leitai's, and even though he was his brother, he never expected that he still had relatives. It depends on whether you are honest or not. Otherwise, if you tell a lie, I will throw you into the sea and feed you sharks directly. Sun Wuling's final threatening words made Leitai's quickly nod. What are you looking for Wukong on Earth for? Sun Wuling's cold eyes were now like a nightmare in Leitai's eyes, imprinted in his soul. Chapter 5 Turtle Sect Qigong Wave. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Leitai's explained the reason why he came to Earth. Besides Kakarot and me, there are also 2 surviving saints who are stronger than me, especially Prince Vegeta. He is not only the king among US saints, but also the most talented among us. Kakarot, even if you refute him, you cannot conceal the fact that you are a Saiyan. Leitai's looked vaguely at Sun Wukong and suddenly noticed that he did not see the tail that belonged to the Saiyan emblem on Sun Wukong's body. Carrot, you, cough cough cough. Where's your tail? Sun Wukong said, it was cut off a long time ago. You. Cough cough cough. Leitai's vomited a mouthful of blood. Continue speaking to me. Sun Wuling's cold words made Leitai's heart shiver, and his cold sweat froze. The Saiyan people were originally a minority, and with the explosion of a huge meteorite hitting the planet Vegeta, almost all of them turned into dust from the universe. I was also like Carrot at the time because I was sent to other planets along with Prince Vegeta and Nappa, which saved me. Leitai's voice became weaker and weaker, and his desire to survive made his eyes burn as he looked at Sun Wuling. Not long ago, I discovered a planet that could sell for a good price. Although I wanted to attack there, I was afraid it would be difficult to conquer with the help of the 3 of us. So, I came here to search for Carrot. As the words fell, Leitai's looked at Sun Wuling pleadingly and said, I've finished speaking. Please, help me. Your 2 Saiyan companions know you're here. Sun Wuling condensed a Qigong bullet in his hand. Leitai's hair exploded instantly and he pleaded loudly, no, no, as long as you save me, I will leave the Earth immediately, tell the situation here, and I will never come here again. Leitai's words made Sun Wuling sneer in his heart. Although he forgot some details of the plot, how could he possibly forget the beginning of Dragon Ball Z in his past life memory? At this time, he was not sure how much of Vegeta's combat power was, but he remembered it was over 10,000. However, despite this, Sun Wuling did not expose it. He did not want to reveal his secret. Burma, Klin, and Sun Wukong all exist vividly now. Wukong, what are you planning to do? The Qigong bullet in his hand was aimed at Leitai's, and he took a few steps back. Sun Wuling looked at Sun Wukong beside him and handed over how to deal with Leitai's to Sun Wukong to decide. Carrot, I'm your brother. Help me, I promise I won't disturb your lives again. Help me, please. Leitai's words softened Sun Wukong's heart. He looked at Sun Wuling and replied, Wuling, let him go. I know he is an unforgivable villain, but... Sun Jun. Bulma, Turtle Fairy, Klin, and others were a bit excited, but when they saw Sun Wuling's gesture, they all stopped. I knew you would do this, brother. Sun Wuling had anticipated earlier, and this was Sun Wukong's personality. Although he was no longer as simple as when he was a child, his kind nature still remained unchanged. As for the Saiyan people, Sun Wuling felt that it was Sun Wukong who elevated the Saiyan race. Buzz. The Qigong bullet in her hand hit Leitai's body, and Leitai's felt a chill in her heart. She quickly closed her eyes, but the pain she had imagined was not there. Her legs were now scabbed, and her body's strength was still recovering. I have stopped all your blood, and I have given you some breath. You are now enough to fly to the landing place of your spaceship. Go away, before I turn back. Sun Wuling wouldn't foolishly give the fairy beans to Leitai's to eat, and turn around with Sun Wukong who wanted to say something. Ah, Wuling, you. Don't talk. Sun Wuling interrupted Sun Wukong's words directly, and the blue Qigong waves condensed in his palms were constantly accumulating, ready to be released at any time. Bulma, Klin, and the Turtle Immortal looked at him with an air that dared not venture out. They understood Sun Wuling's plan. Sun Wufan was always held by Bulma, just like Bulma, Kelin, and Gui Xian, looking curiously at the blue Qigong wave in Sun Wuling's hand. However, Leitai's was completely unaware that he could not sense gas, and the detector was in Sun Wuling's hands. Moreover, at this moment, Sun Wuling was facing away from him, so he could not see it at all. Damn it! That damn Earthling and Carrot even cut off their tail. It's a shame for us Saiyan people. Leitai's became more and more angry as he thought, and in addition, Sun Wuling's combat power was not as good as him, yet he was still trampled underfoot. Tail, is that Carrot's son? Leitai's noticed Sun Wufan in Burma's arms, showing a crazy smile and a thought rising in his heart. He hijacked Kakarot's son to blackmail Kakarot and that damn Earthling, which he often did. Kakarot, the shame of being a Saiyan. Ah! Buzz! Leitai's opened his hands, 2 energy bombs condensed, emitting crazy laughter and throwing them at Sun Wuling, Sun Wukong. Sure enough, you guys are still going to hell. Turtle Sect Qigong Wave. Sun Wuling turned around in an instant, and the powerful turtle-style Qigong wave was released. The thick blue Qigong wave instantly shattered Leitai's 2 energy bombs, leaving no room for energy to attack him. Ah! No! Leitai's let out a cry of unwillingness, and the energy-accumulating turtle-style Qigong wave instantly penetrated and covered Leitai's, turning it into powder. Buzz! The Qigong wave of the Turtle Sect flew out of the Turtle Immortal house and hit the sea. Wherever it passed, the seawater instantly evaporated, forming a semi-circular depression on the sea level. Sun Wukong sat on the ground, his gaze fixed on the place where Leitai's had disappeared for a long time, unable to regain his senses. Sun Wuling, Bulma, and others all understand Sun Wukong's emotions at this moment, but the bloodline relatives he finally encountered are those kind of people. Sunday, June. Bulma put down Sun Wufan and came to Sun Wukong's side. Bick, after watching for so long, it's time to come out. Sun Wuling lifted his head and looked at Bike, who was hidden in the clouds in the sky. Sigh. Bick. Bulma, Klin, and Turtle Fairy were startled. Even after a few years, the story of the great demon king of Bick still lingered in their memory and could not be forgotten. Bike fell from the sky into the Turtle Immortal house, watching Sun Wukong and Sun Wuling with a cold sweat on his face. Your current strength. Bike thought that Leitai's, who made him unable to resist, would be eliminated by Sun Wuling. Exactly, I'll save time looking for you again, Bick. Sun Wuling wore a hand and chest protector, with an indifferent expression. His handsome face was swayed by the sea breeze, and his black hair fluttered gently. Just now Late Eyes said that he has 2 Saiyan companions, and they are even stronger than him, Bic, Wukong. Sun Wuling guided him. Sun Wukong, Bic was taken aback. What you mean? Bic looked at Sun Wuling and understood his meaning, shouting nervously with a green face. After Late Eyes loses contact, his 2 stronger Saiyan companions will definitely come to Earth, and our power. On an unknown planet, 2 men are sitting next to a fire, surrounded by corpses. One of the men was burly and muscular, wearing a battle suit similar to Late Eyes, with a bald head and strong muscles that looked full of strength. His waist was wrapped around a tail similar to Late Eyes. Late Eyes is dead. Humph, what a shameful guy. And the other one was dressed in a blue combat suit, white gloves, and leather boots that adorned his entire body. He had towering black hair and a handsome appearance with a hint of killing intent. Even the burly Saiyan looked at him with awe. Chapter 6. Each Direction. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Humph, I never thought there would be a guy with over 1,000 combat abilities in that remote place. This somewhat handsome Saiyan looks very disdainful towards the death of Late Eyes, without any sadness, cold-blooded, ruthless, and bloody battles. This is their Saiyan. These 2 Saiyan people are exactly Late Eyes' companions. The sturdy Saiyan person is called Naba, while the somewhat handsome Saiyan person's name is Vegeta, which is the king of the Saiyan people in Late Eyes' words, Vegeta. Humph, when this is over, let's go to that place called Earth. Kill all the humans there, said Vegeta with a bloodthirsty smile. Earth, Turtle Immortal House. Upon hearing Sun Wuling's words, Bic, Sun Wukong were fine, Klin, Bulma, and others were stunned when they heard that there were 2 stronger Saiyan people. Wuling, maybe the other party won't come over. Ah, right. Bulma smiled reluctantly and asked Sun Wuling, forcing herself not to think about this matter. Sun Wuling's face did not change at all. Gu Jing looked at Bulma calmly and said, the coordinates of the Earth have already been exposed to them. Imagine a planet with vast resources and environment, and the humans on this planet are ants that you can kill with just 1 step. Bulma, I don't want what you said. Burma remained silent, with a pessimistic expression on her face, feeling that the whole world had collapsed. Sun Wukong smiled and looked at Sun Wuling, Bic, clenching his fists without any fear. Wuling, Bic, it's really fun, isn't it? Yes, it's interesting. Sun Jun. Bulma looked at Sun Wukong in surprise. Yeah, the thought of even stronger enemies coming from behind makes my whole body boil with excitement. Sun Wuling agreed without any fear, even though he was an Earthling, he was still a martial artist. Suddenly, I felt a surge of energy coming from Sun Wukong, Sun Wuling, Bic, Klin, and the Turtle Immortal. Looking at them, I saw one that looked very similar to Bic, but appeared somewhat old-fashioned, with divine characters tattooed on their robes. Heavenly gods. Sun Wuling, Sun Wukong said in his own voice. Cut. Bic wrapped his hands and chest, holding his head down. He was the offspring spit out by the great demon king of Bic before being eliminated by Sun Wuling and Sun Wukong. He can also be called Bic too. And the heavenly god and Bic I were originally supposed to be one, but in order to become the heavenly god, they eventually divided themselves and formed 2 extremes, the other extreme being Bic I. It can be said that Bic has a deep connection with the gods. Wukong, Wuling, I have seen everything that has happened here. I have convinced Lord Yen, but unfortunately, because the underworld is the location of the undead, bringing live people into it is a taboo. Therefore, Lord Yen can only allow 1 person to enter the underworld and visit the Realm King. The heavenly god said with a regretful expression, his already somewhat aged face feeling a bit tired at the moment, and the earth is not peaceful. The King of Realm. Sun Wukong asked in confusion, who is the King of Realm? Sun Wuling on the side interrupted his words directly. Let Wukong go. Sun Wuling directly interrupted Sun Wukong, who was about to speak, without any hesitation. What? Wuling, you. Sun Wukong looked at Sun Wuling. Sun Wuling's power was even stronger than his, and according to reason, it was the most appropriate for him to leave. Moreover, he was still Sun Wuling's brother. Let's stop pushing and shoving, earlier will give us more time for cultivation. Wukong, we must learn our skills well from the one called the World King and come back. Don't waste the hard work of the Heavenly God. Is there anything good with the King of the Realms? Yes, and there are also many, such as Jiwang Fist and Yuanqi Bullet. Why doesn't Sun Wuling go? Because Sun Wukong is his brother, even if he's not his biological brother, his emotions are not much different. I got it. Sun Wukong understood his responsibility and put away his usual playful and cheerful expression on his face. The heavenly god brought Sun Wukong to the heavenly realm and disappeared in front of Sun Wuling and others. Returning to some original trajectories. Sun Wuling couldn't help but secretly think to himself that due to his reasons, Sun Wukong did not die this time and could go to the underworld and the realm king. However, it seems that the heavenly god must have put in a lot of effort to secure this opportunity. For the sake of the earth, the heavenly gods are truly fulfilling their duties. Sun Wuling, don't think that Sun Wukong practiced from any realm king. I won't keep your two brothers standing in front of me, whether it's a Saiyan or you, it must be me who ultimately dominates this world. The great demon king pointed at Sun Wuling and let out a crazy laugh. Sun Wuling's face remained unchanged as he looked at Bic, his eyes seeming to see through him. Bic, you've been this long, you're still in second place. How did you do it? Bic was almost pushed to his waist by Sun Wuling's words. He remembered that Sun Wuling also said the same thing about him during the world's top martial arts meeting. After understanding what Middle Two was, especially after Burma, Klin, and Turtle Immortal were all laughing on the side, his cheeks turned red with anger. You, Sun Wuling. Sun Wuling waved his hand indifferently and said, Hi. Hi. I already know, but before that, I have something to ask you, Bic. After speaking, Sun Wuling walked towards Sun Wukong and squatted down to watch. Please me, Sun Wuling. I haven't agreed yet, you guys. Hey, are you listening to me? Bic almost roared at Sun Wuling. Klin whispered to Bulma and the Turtle Fairy, Bic has no choice but to completely grasp the enlightenment spirit. The answer to Klin was Burma, and the Turtle Fairy nodded in agreement. Sun Wuling put on Sun Wukong's hat and said in a soft voice, Wukong, you have seen everything that happened just now. At your current age, I hope you can grow up happily without worries, but reality simply does not allow it. Uncle Wuling. Sun Wukong's childish voice lifted his head and gazed at Sun Wuling. Although he saw the disappearance of a life, there was no discomfort. I don't know when the stronger villain will come to Earth next. If it fails, not only you, but also me, your mother, father, and everyone will die like they did just now. Death. Sun Wukong sat on the ground, only 4 years old, and he didn't understand what death was. But when he thought of Chi-Chi, Sun Wukong, and Sun Wuling in his mind, they disappeared like late eyes just now, and his heart seemed to be pierced by a sharp sword. Wow. Uncle Wuling, Dad, Mom, don't die. Wow. Sun Wukong understood what death is. Holding Sun Wuling, she cried out. Wuling, after all, Wukong is still a child. Can you say something too heavy? Bulma looked at Sun Wuling with some reluctance and said. Sun Wuling did not answer and lightly patted Sun Wukong's back with his palm. I'm sorry, Wukong. I don't want you to come into contact with these too early, but if those two stronger Saiyan people come to Earth, we will fail and everyone will die. Wukong, you have unimaginable potential. When your potential is developed, it will definitely be stronger than anyone else. Learn martial arts, Wufan. After learning that you have the ability to protect your father, mother, and everyone, if you don't like it, I won't force you. I will immediately send you back to your mother's side. After Sun Wuling finished speaking, Sun Wufan was about to say he wanted to find his mother. However, Sun Wuling's words were heavily imprinted in his mind. Sun Wukong, Chi-Chi, and Sun Wuling died like late eyes under the wave of Turtle Sect Qigong. I, Uncle Wuling, can protect you even after learning martial arts. Do you still have dad and mom? Sun Wufan looked at Sun Wuling timidly with tearful eyes. Sun Wuling firmly said, yes, as long as you persist in learning martial arts, you can not only protect us, but also defeat those villains and save more people. Chapter 7. Where is my path? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Woo-woo. Sun Wufan nodded and looked at Sun Wuling with tears in his eyes. Sun Wuling stood up and turned his head to look at Bike, showing a wicked smile. Bike, please help me train Wufan for now. Silence. Sigh. Suddenly, the screams of Bike, Burma, and others could almost lift the roof of the Turtle Immortal house off. Klin. Wuling, are you serious? Bulma. Wuling, let Bike. Bik roared angrily, why should I train this crying little devil? Sun Wufan looked at Bike and sat on the ground in shock, grabbing Sun Wuling's pants leg and not letting go. Because I need to explain the reason to my sister. Law, I will also go there later, Bik. The reason why Wukong and I have higher strength than you is because I often practice with Wukong. Sun Wuling picked up Sun Wufan, handed him over to Bike, took off his hat, and picked up the 4 planets. In fact, besides bringing things back to their original trajectory, there was another reason. He was too familiar with Sun Wufan, and now Sun Wufan's personality is dependent on him. He cannot completely focus on training Sun Wufan, so it would be better to temporarily hand it over to Bike. You guy. Bik wrapped his hands and chest, looking down at Sun Wufan. This little ghost who loves to cry has more potential than Sun Wuling said. Little devil, come here. Bike grabbed Sun Wufan and flew into the sky, Sun Wuling, handing over Sun Wukong's son to me was your biggest mistake. Wait, Sun Wuling. If this little ghost doesn't have the potential you mentioned, I'll just crush him, Bike left everyone's sight with Sun Wufan, who had been crying loudly and shouting Uncle Wuling. The turtle fairy looked at Sun Wuling and said, Wuling, is this really good? Let Bike train Wufan. Sun Wuling nodded and said, it's just temporary. Now that Wukong is not here, I will also practice with Bike. By the way. Sun Wuling pointed to the detector that had just been thrown to Bulma and said, this is the device that late eyes can detect combat effectiveness. Except for the numbers that can be barely understood, the rest are all words that we don't know. Bulma, you should be interested. Sun Wuling's dance technique took off, and after temporarily bidding farewell to everyone, he flew towards Baozi Mountain. Gently wiping away the blood stains from the corners of my mouth, I began to ponder in my heart what I would do in the future. He also thought about some of his fellow humans he had seen before, wishing through the Dragon Ball to obtain the bloodline of the Saiyan people, but still had the most systems. But he doesn't have it, he doesn't have a system like this. As for the wishing Saiyan bloodline, every time Sun Wuling thinks about it, he has an instinctive rejection in his heart, which makes him dislike it and dislike it. Silent as the sky. Sun Wuling murmured softly that he had arrived in the heavenly realm after defeating the great demon King Ai with Sun Wukong, but the heavenly god did not allow him to undergo weight-bearing training like Sun Wukong did. Tian Shen. Wuling, you are different from Wukong. Wukong's path is not suitable for you. Sun Wuling said, isn't it suitable for me? God, what kind of path should I take? God of heaven. Having Qi is not just about life, the universe, flowers, trees, and even the planet itself carries Qi. Your control and perception of Qi are the most powerful I have ever encountered, but I'm sorry, I don't know how to guide you. Returning to reality, Sun Wuling's first thought was the Yuan Qi bullet. The Yuan Qi bullet was taught to Sun Wukong by the Northern Realm King, with great power and destructive absolute power. However, its disadvantage is that the process of accumulating power is slow, and the stronger the opponent's evil heart, the greater the damage. Therefore, the user can only be a pure and kind warrior like Sun Wukong. Sun Wuling has a clear understanding of himself, and he doesn't think he can be considered kind. However, the condensation method of Yuan Qi bullet gave him great inspiration. The Heavenly God has also said that he has high control and perception of Qi. What if he introduces Qi into his body? Just like cultivating immortals. This idea has always revolved around his mind, and Sun Wuling has been constantly exploring since the bike incident was completely over, but he has never been able to do it. The Heavenly God brought Sun Wukong to the underworld and met the King of Hell. To think of the location of the King of the Realm, one needs to pass through a snake path that spans millions of kilometers. Only then can we reach the place where the Realm King resides. Gugu, the sound of protest echoed in his stomach again, and Sun Wukong sat weakly on the snake path, looking at the endless snake path. The clouds on both sides of the road were not as beautiful as they seemed, and if he accidentally fell, he would fall into hell. Ah! I can't do it anymore, there's no end in sight. Sun Wukong took out a bag containing 10 fairy beans. Fortunately, Wuling always prepares fairy beans before each trip, which is a big help. Sun Wukong quickly picked up a fairy bean and threw it into his mouth, instantly recovering his strength and reaching his best state. But when you see that there are still 9 fairy beans left in the bag, make sure to reach the destination before the remaining 9 fairy beans are used up. Sun Wuling searched for a jar and a half of fairy beans from Immortal Jialin in his hand. Every time Immortal Jialin brought out fairy beans, Sun Wuling would immediately replace them with a bunch of fish. Every time Sun Wuling went out, he would bring some fairy beans with him to prepare for unexpected needs. This time, he was even more resolute in asking Sun Wukong to bring 10 fairy beans, and with the caution shown by Sun Wuling in the past, no one thought about Sun Wuling's foresight or anything like that, making it almost impeccable. Come on, everyone is waiting for me, and Wuling has given me this opportunity. I must not let everyone down. Sun Wukong cheered himself up and took off all the weight on his body. He didn't know when the Saiyan mentioned by Leitais would come over. Shoo! Sun Wukong continued to run towards the front, the endless snake path with no end in sight, winding and long. A lonely person, moving forward with faith. Returning to Baozi Mountain, in Sun Wuling's sight, there was a tall man with a strong physique, nearly 3 meters tall, with a bullhorn shape on his head and a cow character on it. Wearing a white short shirt and black pants with suspenders. The Bull Demon King, Chi-Chi's father, and also a disciple of the Turtle Immortal, although he appears quite tall and powerful, he is actually a kind person. Chi-Chi was sunbathing on the sheets at the moment when she noticed Sun Wuling's return. She smiled and shouted, "Wuling, why did you come back so quickly? Did you forget something?" "Hi. Wuling." The Bull Demon King waved his hand to Sun Wuling and greeted him. "Uncle Bull Demon King, Sister Law, I have something to tell you. You all have some preparations in your hearts." Sun Wuling spoke directly to Chi-Chi and the Bull Demon King, revealing the truth of the matter. Instead of being conflicted, it would be better to simply spread out the words and explain them clearly. "You, Wuling, what are you saying?" Chi-Chi only then noticed the appearance of Sun Wuling at this moment, with some broken clothes on his body and a somewhat disheveled appearance. "Wufan, why did you give Wufan to a dangerous guy like Bike?" Chi-Chi angrily looked at Sun Wulingzi and asked. "Chi-Chi, don't be angry, Wuling must have his reasons too." The Bull Demon King kept persuading Chi-Chi and said. Sure enough. Chi-Chi's reaction was the same as Sun Wuling had anticipated, but he had already prepared how to persuade him. Chapter 8. Lanqi. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Dad, you are really naive. In this society, reading is the best way out. Wufan wants to become a great scholar in the future. Before Chi-Chi could finish speaking, Sun Wuling replied directly, however, scholars and the path of martial arts are not in conflict. Sister-in-law, martial arts is not about fighting and killing. In addition to strengthening physical fitness, it also carries philosophy. There is a natural reason for his existence that has been passed down to this day. Wu Tian's master, Wu Taidu, is a heavenly god, so it is not your one-sided understanding of fighting and killing. Chi-Chi, the bull demon king, was taken aback. Chi-Chi snorted in dissatisfaction and said, Wuling, don't try to deceive me. I'm not the same little girl as before, and I'll still be deceived by you. Sun Wuling spread his hands and his handsome face was blown by the gentle breeze. He curled up his hair on both temples, but his complexion remained unchanged. Sister-in-law, continue with what you said earlier. Is this society related to us? I. Chi-Chi choked on Sun Wuling's words, calmed down, and thought about Sun Wuling's words. Is this society related to them? What is reading for? For stable work, what is work for? For salary, what is salary? Salary is money. And money. Sun Wuling's mouth curved upwards and he said, do we lack money? Sister-in-law. Are everyone short of money? Anyway, with his intervention, these sea warriors are really not lacking. There are so many treasures under the sea, including Yamu tea, Klin, Tianjin rice, dumplings, and even Sun Wukong. They will no longer worry about money. Now there are enough gold, silver, and jewelry in his cellar that can make treasure hunters crazy to death. Not to mention Sun Wukong has a big appetite for food. Besides food, what do the wild beasts near Baozi Mountain do? I won't force Wufan. This is his own decision. He wants to protect his sister-in-law, you, Wukong, and me. He wants to protect everyone, and he also wants to protect this planet. There is no conflict between sister-in-law, scholars, and martial arts. But Chi-Chi looked at Sun Wuling with tears in her eyes and said, then we can't let dangerous guys like Bike teach him. I'll go, truly worthy of the enlightenment spirit. The Bull Demon King is really impressed. He was able to persuade the stubborn Chi-Chi and give Sun Wuling a thumbs up in his heart. He is even more impressive than the Bull Demon King. Sister-in-law, we all know your hard work. Whether it's Wufan or Wukong, they all respect and love you very much. That's why they have consciousness. In addition to protecting this planet, it's also important to protect you. Sun Wuling's words made Chi-Chi blush. Even though she had been married for over 4 years, she shyly covered her face and said, love me, Wuling. You wouldn't have deceived me again. How could Wukong say such things? If he doesn't love you, how could his brother possibly marry your sister-in-law? If he doesn't love you, how could he take the initiative to give birth to Wufan with you? If he doesn't love you, how could his brother not see Boma, Guixian, and Klin for 4 years? Sun Wuling made Chi-Chi blush like steam and her heart skip a beat. She shyly shouted, Wuling, stop talking, stop talking. Tell Wufan that the decision must be persevered until the end, and I will support him. I will tell you that besides telling you, I will also have Xian Do, Uncle Bull Demon King, and sister-in-law when I come back this time. Don't worry, I will also practice with Bike, and I will also train Wufan. After Sun Wuling returned to the room, he packed several bags of fairy beans prepared in advance, bid farewell to Chi-Chi and the Bull Demon Queen, and flew towards the heavenly realm. Sun Wuling flew to the heavenly realm, and the heavenly god who had just returned from the underworld heard Sun Wuling's words and agreed with his intentions, allowing the other Z warriors to practice in the heavenly realm. Sun Wuling returned to the Turtle Immortal house, while Bulma was working on Leitai's detector and told Klin about the situation. Wuling, do you mean we can all go to the heavenly realm to practice? Qin asked Sun Wuling. That's right. Qin, could you please contact Yamcha, Tianjin rice, dumplings? I have already agreed with the heavenly god, by the way. Sun Wuling took out 4 small bags and handed them to Qin, saying, each bag here has 3 fairy beans. When the Saiyan people arrive, we will rush over directly. Can you help me hand over the remaining Qin to Tianjin rice, Yamu tea, and dumplings? I know. Wuling. Qin nodded and replied. By the way, where's Lanqi? Why is she missing? Sun Wuling suddenly noticed who was missing in the Turtle Immortal house. He forgot about her and quickly asked. The turtle fairy shook his head and replied, Lanqi, she went to follow Tianjin and never came back after dinner. Is that so? Sun Wuling couldn't help but feel an inexplicable feeling in his heart. Of course, he didn't like it anymore. After all, we had been together for a long time, so we parted ways like this. I'm afraid he might not have another chance in the future. Qin and Sun Wuling left the Turtle Immortal house separately. Qin went to Tianjin for a meal, dumplings, Yamu tea party, and went to Galinda together. Sun Wuling crashed towards Leitai's spaceship and flew towards the ground. Amidst the intense gunfight, a woman with long golden hair and a red dress wearing a camisole was seen holding a machine gun. The crowd that had originally surrounded the spaceship dispersed. Lanqi, isn't it? How did you meet her here? Sun Wuling quickly fell down and looked at Lanqi, who was now fiercely holding a machine gun and shooting blonde hair. He greeted her and said, long time no see, Lanqi. Get out of my way. The blonde Lanqi machine gun turned around and shot towards Sun Wuling. Holy crap, Sun Wuling was startled. Although he wasn't running towards him, suddenly he was still startled. Obviously, the blonde Lanqi also recognized Sun Wuling. A Qigong bullet in her hand hit Lanqi's side, lifting a burst of dust. Lanqi, whose blonde hair was wrapped in dust, felt a slight itching at the tip of her nose. Lanqi sneezed and her appearance changed greatly. Her original blonde hair and green eyes suddenly changed, with blue hair and black eyes. Her temperament was not as fierce as before, and her personality was gentle. She looked gentle and innocent. Where is this? Ah, it's Wuling, you're also here. Blue-haired Lanqi happily looked at Sun Wuling and said. Long time no see, Lanqi. Sun Wuling arrived at the motorcycle that Lanqi had just ridden with blonde hair. Both bags were filled with gold, silver, and jewelry, causing him to tug at the corners of his mouth. This blonde Lanqi still hasn't changed. Did I do all of this? Wuling. Lanqi, with blue hair, looked around at the chaos and bullet wounds everywhere. She looked at Sun Wuling nervously and asked. It's okay. Sun Wuling sensed a police car honking its horn coming here, and Leitai's spherical spaceship hatch was still open. His right arm gathered air and a hooked chain was formed, hooking Leitai's spaceship. Lanqi, are you going back to the Turtle Immortal house? It's been a long time since we last met, and everyone misses you. Sun Wuling reached out his hand and asked Lanqi, who had blue hair. Okay, I also miss everyone very much, and I don't know how I left the Turtle Immortal house. Blue-haired Lanqi looked at Sun Wuling and replied, her tone and voice were completely different from those of blonde Lanqi. Sun Wuling extended his left arm and smiled, if you don't mind, I'll hold you back, Lanqi. Ah, I'll trouble you, Wuling. Blue-haired Lanqi smiled shyly and naturally came to Sun Wuling's side. She was held by Sun Wuling's one-handed princess and quickly grabbed Sun Wuling's collar. Let's go, Lanqi. Sun Wuling held the blue-haired Lanqi in his left hand and flew towards the direction of the Turtle Immortal house with the spaceship in his other hand. Moreover, considering the blue-haired Lanqi, Sun Wuling flew very slowly, and the sunset in the sky had already begun to set. At this moment, Sun Wuling was slowly flying on the sea, with the blue-haired Lanqi spreading her head and looking at the sea. This feeling was still the first time. Nestled in Sun Wuling's arms, Lanqi with blue hair looked at him and smiled. Wuling, you have become even more handsome now than before. Chapter 9. Jialin Immortal. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Lanqi, you still haven't changed much, you're still so beautiful. Those who are unaware of the conversation between Sun Wuling and Lanqi may think that there is something between the two. However, there really was none. Blue-haired Lanqi was a gentle big sister. At that time, when he was still practicing with Sun Wukong and Qin at the Turtle Immortal's place, every time he returned with bruises and bruises, blue-haired Lanqi would look like a gentle big sister. Afterwards, after sneezing at some unknown time, she turned into a blonde Lanqi again, causing a flurry of excitement. During the world's #1 martial arts meeting, the fiery blonde Lanqi even held up a submachine gun and led the way. And what Sun Wuling is saying now is also true. He didn't see any signs of aging on Lanqi with blue hair, as if she had been frozen. Suddenly, the sea breeze carried a damp feeling, and Lanqi's blue-haired nose felt itchy. Ache. My body suddenly changed again, with blonde hair, green eyes, and a big change in temperament. Well, why am I here, Sun Wuling? Why are you holding me? Let go of my mother. Golden-haired Lanqi was about to struggle, but she found the endless sea below her and the sudden prey of sharks. She was startled and quickly grabbed Sun Wuling's collar. Lanqi, after returning to the Turtle Immortal house this time, don't leave anymore. Everyone misses you quite a bit. Tianjin fan, like me, is all focused on pursuing martial arts, and you can also feel it. Ha! Lanqi, with blonde hair, looked at Sun Wuling with inexplicable disdain and said, "Are you the one who watched transparent films with Wukong, the lecherous old man, and the bald head? Is it called art?" Sun Wuling didn't feel any shame at all because of Lanqi's words with blonde hair. He smiled and said, "Didn't that mean that Wukong was getting married at that time?" And Wu Tian teacher, Lin and these two were clearly intentional but didn't have the courage. It's really not frank. After saying that, I'm single and still a boy to this day. I don't think I did anything wrong either. What kind of person are you? When Bulma chased you back then, could you refuse with an unchanged expression? By the way, when you fought against Lan Fong in the world's top martial arts club, you didn't blush, didn't jump, knocked the opponent unconscious, and threw them directly under the arena. Golden-haired Lanqi mentioned that it was also their first time participating in the 21st World First Martial Arts Association. I almost forget who I am, even if you don't say it. As I mentioned before, I am a single aristocrat who pursues martial arts with all my heart and will definitely adhere to it to the end. The difference is that I will also enjoy what I deserve. In fact, in addition to these, Sun Wuling still had a lot to say in his heart. He looked at these familiar characters and would not destroy them. He was afraid that these were just foam in his dreams. I have already witnessed Sun Wukong and Chi-Chi, but I don't know what will happen next to Bulma and Vegeta, Qin and number 18. I don't know if these original couples will undergo any changes due to his appearance. By the way, there are also Tianjin Rice and Lanqi. The Tianjin Rice I remember was killed in Naba's hands with dumplings, and Lanqi eventually disappeared because of it. But now, Lanqi is here, and it's impossible to disappear again. I don't know if Tianjin Rice and Lanqi will. Hey! Wuling, what's wrong with you? Did I say something wrong? Lanqi, with blonde hair, looked at Sun Wuling, who suddenly felt a little sad. Where did she say wrong or something? Haha. It's okay, I just suddenly felt that having a group of friends like you is really great. Sun Wuling came back to his senses and laughed heartily. By the way, Lanqi, if you want to chase after Tianjin Rice, no one will stop you. It's just that if you have time, can you not forget to contact everyone? Sun Wuling's words made blonde Lanqi curl her lips and not speak. I know now, no, I'm not leaving yet, mother. Unless Tianjin Fan comes to find me, humph. Blue Qi, with blonde hair, snorted coldly in dissatisfaction. Powder blusher cheeks are full of arrogance. Here it is. The spaceship landed first, and Sun Wuling also looked helpless. He had forgotten to bring the empty universal capsule from Bulma before, otherwise he wouldn't have carried it all the way like this. Boom. The sound of the spaceship crashing sounded, and the entire Turtle Immortal house seemed to have been shaken. Apart from the Turtle Immortal and Bulma, there was also a flying cat and a pig wearing clothes. Well, poor Wulong, are you also here? Sun Wuling dispersed the long chain in his hand. Long time no see, Wuling. Poor Wulong greeted Sun Wuling. At this moment, Bulma arrived at the spaceship and tapped lightly with her fingers, asking, Wuling, what is this? Sun Wuling helplessly spread out his hands and said, this is Leitai's spaceship. I forgot to ask you for a blank universal capsule. I think you will definitely be interested in this thing, Bulma. Ah. Wuling, you may still miss something, it's really rare. Bulma smiled and threw a box to Sun Wuling. Here are all blank universal capsules, you know how to use Wuling. Thank you. I happen to have to go to the Garland Immortal's place. Sun Wuling opened the box, and the various types of universal capsules inside could hold different sizes of savings. After leaving the Turtle Immortal house, Sun Wuling went to various restaurants and fish restaurants in the city, making dozens of dishes for each. The boss and the waiter still had to refute, but when they saw Sun Wuling throwing out tens of thousands of dollars, without saying a word, they eagerly prepared. After Sun Wuling prepared hundreds of different fish and vegetable drinks, he packed them in a universal capsule and flew towards Jialin. Jialin Immortal likes to eat fish, but he doesn't lack fish. As long as he wants, he can hang it up at any time through treasures that can connect to other worlds. Even if Sun Wuling gave him cooking pots and the like before, Jialin Immortal cannot make all of them. Dancing in the air, Sun Wuling arrived at the residence of Immortal Jialin. The white cat had eyes shaped like lines, 3 whiskers on each side, and held a wooden cane with 2 eyebrows on each side of its eyes. Wuling, you have finally arrived. Long time no see, Fairy Jialin. Sun Wuling was not surprised that Jialin Immortal knew of his arrival. Jialin Immortal possessed the foresight technique to monitor what was happening in the lower world, as well as the mind-reading technique to observe the other person's mind and memory. Sun Wuling learned the technique of dancing in the air from Immortal Jialin. However, Jialin Immortal has not used the ability to read memories with him or Sun Wukong. In addition, there are various precious items, even the Jiduyan belongs to Jialin Immortal. The universal capsule opens, and hundreds of various cooked fish dishes, combined with their enticing aroma, make the Fairy Jialin's fingers skip a beat. Wuling, there are already over 40 fairy beans now. Jialin Immortal was about to hand over the fairy beans to Sun Wuling, but he was stopped by him. No need, Jialin Immortal, let me leave it with you. Where do I have a jar and a half? Please come back and trouble Jialin Immortal when I finish using it. Sun Wuling now has enough fairy beans in his hand, and it is also for emergencies. Although it is not too much, don't put all the eggs in one basket. Meow, then I won't be polite. Jialin Immortal transformed chopsticks, completely different from the raw fish he had eaten before. Wow, even though you left me a fish recipe in various utensils, I still can't make such delicious food. It's delicious, delicious. Every time I see humans from the lower world making such things, I'm so greedy, Wuling. Haha. Sun Wuling didn't stop for a day and sat on the ground, his gaze fixed on the starry sky. The moon tonight is really round. Sun Wuling's expression froze for a moment. In Sun Wuling's perception, a huge Qigong wave directly hit the moon from the earth, shattering the entire moon and becoming dust from the universe. Bick. Wu Fan. Chapter 10. Individual Practice. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. After having eaten enough at the place of Jialin Immortal, bid farewell to Jialin Immortal and fly towards the position of Baik and Sun Wukong with the Dance of the Sky technique. It seems everything is going smoothly. Now Wukong should still be running on that snake path. 10 immortal beings should be able to hold him up to the Realm King Star. Sun Wuling arrived, and at this moment, the rocks here were shattered and broken. Sun Wukong lay sleeping on the hillside, wearing new clothes and an orange martial arts uniform of the same style as Sun Wukong. The difference was that there was a magic character written on the back and a sword beside him. Wuling, you have finally arrived. Bick floats in the air, his green face tense, and his cold eyes shimmering in the dark starry sky. Thank you, Bick. I just saw the moon destroyed and thought of the situation with Wufan. Sun Wuling looked at the moment without any fear and smiled. This little ghost does have amazing potential. Wuling, I have already taken care of this crying little ghost for you. It's time for us to start practicing too. Bick shouted loudly to Sun Wuling. Tomorrow morning, I haven't been idle all day. Wow. Sun Wuling yawned and continued, by the way, Tianjin Rice and Baik, your meditation has given me a great inspiration. Baik, your mind is the calmest and smartest I have ever seen, and your knowledge is also very extensive. So I thought of you. If we really succeed, maybe we can really defeat the Saiyan people next and even surpass Wukong. Beyond Sun Wukong, Sun Wuling, I want to see what you're talking about. Bick snorted coldly, leaving Sun Wuling with a silhouette. Sun Wuling's expression remained unchanged. The current Baik no longer had the evil aura of the Baik generation. Suddenly, a smile appeared on his face and he shouted to the flying Baik, by the way, Wufan has also asked you to train him with me during this period. What? Bick's figure was unstable, almost falling directly, and his expression could be said to be very exciting. He even had to take care of that crying little ghost. Just this period of time has already driven him crazy. The next morning, Sun Wufan woke up alone from his dream and embarked on his journey of survival for a while Sun Wuling and Baik were now on a distant mountain peak. Qi, Bick, I am very sensitive to controlling and perceiving Qi. I can feel that besides air, the earth itself, flowers, plants, and trees all have Qi. Sun Wuling's palm was spread out, and in Baik's line of sight, the energy around him slowly gathered, finally forming a white energy bomb. Wuling, what do you mean? Bick stared at Sun Wuling with disbelief. That's right, you're watching, Bick. The Qi in Sun Wuling's palm merged into his body and was slowly absorbed throughout his body. Baik felt that the power on Sun Wuling had faintly become stronger. No wonder you and Sun Wukong can surpass me so much, but Wuling, what you said shouldn't be so simple, otherwise you wouldn't need my help, Bick asked Sun Wuling. Yeah. But Wukong didn't. I talked for a while, but Wukong didn't understand what I meant, so I gave up. Sun Wuling smiled and gave Baik a diagram of the internal structure of the human body, pointing to the 3 locations of the elixirs he specially marked. He said, every life has an upper limit on Qi. What I envisioned was whether we could store Qi in the elixirs. If we store Qi in the elixirs, would the upper limit of life also increase? I don't know how to bring the airflow into the elixirs. Lower elixir field, middle elixir field, upper elixir field. Wuling, although I don't want to praise you, I really can't help but say that you are a genius. However, Wuling, you ignored that the energy can be absorbed by the cells on your body, indicating that you have not reached your limit. Bick looked at Sun Wuling and said. Am I not reaching my limit? Sun Wuling looked at his hands and fell into contemplation. In the future, it seemed more like he had become Sun Wukong's sole home ground, a Super Saiyan, while Klin, Yamucha, Tianjin Fan, and others seemed to be bound by a shackle and could no longer keep up with Sun Wukong and Vegeta. As for Dan Tian, how could Sun Wuling possibly forget? Compared to Ku's praise, Sun Wuling could only be happy in his heart and remain silent. However, he was surprised that he had not yet reached his limit. It seemed that he still underestimated himself. Bick, would you like to give it a try too, but it may hurt a lot. Sun Wuling's palm was spread out, and the condensed energy was the size of a basketball. Bick, who was just about to refuse, suddenly stopped. His current strength was far behind that of Sun Wuling. Sun Wukong had gone to the Realm King to practice. He didn't want to be left behind by Sun Wukong and Sun Wuling so much. Come on. Sun Wuling. Ah! Bick's mournful screams echoed through the entire valley, and Sun Wuling's condensed energy was infused into Bick's body, slowly absorbed by his body. It took at least several hours for him to recover. The full swelling sensation in his body disappeared, and Bick looked at his hands. He became stronger, and those qi belonged to the world, where natural qi existed. Becoming stronger. Bick looked at himself and his strength suddenly increased by a large amount. Suddenly, something came to his mind and he quickly looked at Sun Wuling. Don't worry, I know what you're worried about. I've been calculating for a long time, and even the Heavenly God and Jialin Immortal have seen it. No problem, how could I do that to promote growth? This ability is very useful for us, but it can only be done once a month, otherwise it will really harm the root cause. Now, we need to consolidate our strength. Sun Wuling took on a combat posture compared to Ku. Alright, Wuling, come on. I'll also try my current strength. Shoo! Shoo! Bike and Sun Wuling collided with each other in the air, roaring incessantly in their figures moving rapidly. Each collision caused nearby valleys to collapse. As for why Sun Wuling did not use it on Sun Wukong or Qin, there is also a great risk of introducing natural energy into the body. If one does not understand the structure of the body, it will harm the root cause. Sun Wukong didn't mention it anymore. In addition to the internal tissues such as meridians, acupoints, body, heart, small intestine, etc., he also needed to be able to control this natural energy well. Previously, Qin only had a finger-sized natural energy that made him feel extremely painful, and others like Tianjin rice couldn't do it either. This method is suitable for him. He can control the natural energy with a radius of 1 meter to enter his body, while Bike can withstand the basketball-sized energy. Even so, Sun Wukong can still catch up. Previously, when he was at Baozi Mountain, he had the strength to keep up with him. Time has passed, and more than 2 months have passed. Tianjin rice, yamu tea, kellen, and dumplings in the heavenly realm are practiced under the guidance of the gods. Sun Wufan has also become stronger in the past 2 months, with a much more determined personality. He has also joined his practice with Bike, but only for practice and teaching Sun Wufan techniques. At this moment, Sun Wukong, who had reached over 1,000 combat abilities, spent 2 months finally reaching the end of the snake path and saw the Realm King star. Finally arrived, whoa. There's only 1 fairy bean left. When the fairy beans run out, I really don't know what to do. Sun Wukong's dance technique flew up towards the planet standing on that cloud. Just as he arrived at Jiwang Star, a huge pressure suddenly caused him to fall directly onto Jiwang Star, his body feeling as if it had been filled with lead, and his movements were very slow.